Okay.
Okay. Buying a house is the ultimate American dream, but when the dream turns into a nightmare and the home someone might have worked for in the span of a lifetime goes to foreclosure, all the hard work is taken along with the work. While it may represent the broken dreams of many, a foreclosed property is the opportunity for investors who seek to make money, and those so-called the first-time homebuyers. Today, I'm going to give you an insight on how real estate investors acquire foreclosed properties. This is an example of a property that we purchased back in 2009. The property was a foreclosure, and we actually bought this property for $177,000, and we sold the property for $252,000. We made a profit of about $50,000. I myself didn't know much about foreclosures or buying homes or nonetheless buying properties that were foreclosed until I started working for TTR Investments and Preferred Group Properties. Before I proceed, I want to introduce you guys to some terms to make you familiar with what we're going to talk about. The first term, this is so hard. The first term that we're going to talk about is cashier's check. A cashier's check is a check written by a financial institution on its own funds. A customer who purchases a cashier's check pays for the full amount up front, and then the checks are secure after they're purchased by the bank. A cashier's check looks like this. The next term is comp, which is just short for comparison. When we use the word comp, we are referring to the comparison of two or more properties. And usually we're comparing the value of the property, we're comparing the size and the location of it. I'm going to show you how we compare. Okay, so over here, we have a website. It's called Zillow.com, and it shows over here, it has 3 houses with 3 different prices, and pretty much we just see how much they sold for. The bedrooms, if you can see, like they have about the same bedrooms and bathrooms and size. So that's one of the websites that we use to compare. The next term is foreclosure. Foreclosure refers to a situation in which a homeowner is unable to make the payments on the principal and interest, and therefore loses the home. The next term is rehabilitation. Now, in this case, we're not going to refer to rehab as like the abuse of substance. Rather, we're going to use it as the repairs that need to be performed to the houses that were foreclosed on. And this is an example. There's a picture of the before and after we purchased the property. Oh, that was too quick. Our next term is auction. Auction is the system where potential buyers place competitive bids on assets and services. The assets or service in question will sell to the party that places the highest bid. Okay, so that's that. Now that we know our vocabulary, we will proceed with the steps of purchasing a foreclosure. The first thing someone needs when interested in buying a foreclosed property is money. We can use regular money or take out a loan. However, if we do take out a loan, first we have to make sure that the funds are solid, and so we can turn them into cashier's check, so we can go to the site and purchase the property. This is very important because the site where we will go to purchase the foreclosure does not accept loans, it only accepts cashier's checks. The second step is to look for a property that we're interested in buying. And how we look for properties is through foreclosure.com. I'm going to show you what foreclosure.com looks like. So it's a regular website, and it just gives you a list of properties. Like over here, we have a list of properties in Anaheim that are going to go to sale. So you just have to check that, check when they're going to go to sell, how much they're going to go for. And if you're interested, then we drive the property. We drive the property, do comp on the property, and create a budget for repairs. After we create a budget for repairs, we compute the amounts into what's gonna be the starting bid. After that, we go and get the cashier's checks that we're gonna be using at the auction. At least we need 5 cashier's checks with different denomination. This is very important because since we're gonna be bidding, we don't know the actual final amounts. So we have to be prepared with different denominations. Once we have compiled all the research, comping, and calculated the cost of repairs, the amounts we plan to bid on, and the profit that we'll be making, then we're ready for our third step, which is go ahead and bid on a property and buy a foreclosure. And that's it.
All right, Joanne, what did you think?
I like that she started off with like the terms and explained to us what it was, but I felt like she didn't need to read it off the slide because we could just, read it off ourselves. Other than that, she's really clear with her points, and she was really like engaging with us. Like she didn't really read off her note cards, and we can tell that she really knows what she's talking about. And I like the whole PowerPoint as a whole.
Well, I like the dramatic attention device, and your transition to the topic is pretty clear. I think you have a very clear statement of what your purpose statement is, so that's solid. What I didn't find was a follow-up with the preview, and it felt like I'm diving into this without knowing exactly how I'm going to get to the point that you're talking about. As I'm listening to it, it starts off with definitions, and then we talk about procedures. I'm not sure if the definitions is a separate point or if it's the first of the 2 points that you're going to talk about. The procedures is all organized primarily chronologically, and I think that it needs to be broken up into those steps that are a little bit more distinct. You get sidetracked, I think, on some of the minor technical issues, mentioning the websites, for instance, or how many checks that you might have to have, or creating a repair budget. This is kind of an introductory idea, so I think it would be helpful and perhaps a lot more interesting if you went through the process with us on a particular home. So, for example, you're over there somewhere. So, for example, here's an illustration from the company that I'm working for right now. Here's a property that we discovered on this particular website that anybody has access to, or that only certain people have access to, or that you pay to get access to. I don't know which one of those things it is. But here's a home that we're talking about investing in. And, in order to do that, we have to first make sure that we have the cash to do that, because we're going to be working on a cash basis as opposed to creating a loan to do that. Let me explain to you what we have to do in order to get the cash. There you go. Now, in looking at the home, we have to figure out how much we're willing to pay, and that's where you consider comps. Here's how we did it with this particular home. We found that this home had X number of bedrooms, this number of square feet, these particular extras, so on and so forth, and we looked in the neighborhood to see if there were comparables and how much they were selling for. And, this is the price that we came up with. So use an actual example to illustrate your point rather than talking about it in the more abstract way. I think that will make it a lot more interesting for the audience, and it'll also give your narrative a little bit more structure so that we can see how these things are building together rather than it feeling a little bit more random in nature. The